Welcome back to my channel. I'm Traben. These are my tomes. I've watched the first two episodes of Witch Hat and I have thoughts. I have been championing Witch Hat Atelier on this channel pretty much since its inception. This was the winner of my manga tournament, which was one of the first big projects I put together for the channel. I've kept current with the main manga series. I've also read several of the Witch Hat Kitchen manga volumes. And as we are in the 30 and 30 manga challenge in April, this would be my pick for the manga series that I want to see more merch of, and I'm really hoping that the anime explodes the popularity of this title and we get more of that merch. One of my videos that's been picking up a lot of traction lately is just me putting together this Witch Hat Atelier figure. Clearly the interest is there, but is the anime going to capture the essence of what this manga is all about? What were my thoughts on it? What did I take away from these first two episodes? That's what I wanted to talk about today. Right off the bat, I will say that I absolutely loved the first two episodes. There was a lot going for it. It was very strong choices made by the animation team as well as on a voice acting level. My biggest concern going in, and the point that I was going to give the most attention to, is the costuming. The manga is, in my opinion, one of the most beautiful manga being published today. Character designs are all incredibly intricate. There's a lot of flowing robes, a lot of layers to clothing. And while the animation obviously had to take a little bit of a step back from that detail in most of the scenes, because we are animating these characters, we are having to draw this several times, you lose a little bit of that detail. Overall, I still feel like the look was there. It looked very clean, looked very beautiful. There were some really great shots of the countryside that were really breathtaking, and they certainly knew where their big moments were. Toward the end of episode 1, we have Keyfree grabbing Coco, jumping out the window, flying up into the sky, and that's where we really used the budget to its maximum effect with the flowing robes, the particle effects for the flight coming out of the shoes, the vista in the background, the clouds. It was all beautifully rendered and made for an excellent capstone to that first episode. The way the first episode ends makes it very clear what the stakes are, makes it clear this is going to be a bittersweet story. I mean, the last line is, "You're going to be a witch," which is Coco's entire dream. Ending on that note, I feel, is really important, because this is a story where things don't turn out the way that you want to every time. The sides of this conflict are not clear. It is a lot of gray area and muddled ground. Capping that episode off in that moment really drives home what the series is going to deliver. My one negative from the initial episode, I was not a fan of the cel-shaded rooftop, as we are doing kind of a flyover, a pan around that. It looked clean, it looked nice, but it didn't match the rest of the animation. It was very clear that that was like a 3D asset being rotated along with the animation, and that kind of took me out of it a little bit. This was something that I was a little bit concerned with, seeing the trailer as well. There was a shot of several beakers or glasses on a shelf, and it was clear that those were CG assets for limiting the amount of work they had to put in for the animation, which I understand, but the melding is not there. Those two bits of animation don't feel like they come together cleanly enough. I did watch these episodes dubbed. I'm not sure if the sub versus dub debate of my youth is still going to this day, but I knew from looking at the trailer that I was going to want to watch this dubbed, because I don't want the subtitles to get in the way of the art. There was a specific shot from the trailer where the subtitles were directly over a reflection of Coco in the water. And I knew that if I watched it with the subtitles, there was going to be something that was going to get lost from having the words appear at the bottom of the screen. And if a shot from the trailer was already difficult to look at with subtitles on, I knew that I wanted to watch the series dubbed. I was not expecting British key-free, or indeed for the British accents to be prevalent throughout the Atelier, but at least in Keyfree's case, I think it really works. I also think they captured Tisha's personality very well with the way that she was dubbed. I haven't heard enough from Richa yet, or from Agat. Agat we do hear quite a bit from, but because I was not anticipating that British accent, it kind of threw me a little bit. I think it still works. She hits this kind of haughty air to her, and this kind of almost boredom with what's going on around her, somewhere between like boredom and disdain for Coco and what she's doing, which for being the first antagonist of the series, I feel is appropriate. The voice actress for Coco did an excellent job. She was able to balance the kind of serious, quiet moments along with the more over-the-top like crying and like surprise. They did like the anime style wah kind of stuff. I looked back on the first volume and it's there in a couple of frames, but I think they played it up a little bit more for the animation. I also wanted to talk about something that wasn't in the trailer, which was the inclusion of this storybook, pop-up book aesthetic when it's talking about things related to the magic world and how magic works, what the history of magic is. In the comic, we got these as very elaborate, austere shots of often like silhouetted figures. I really liked that inclusion of making it a storybook. It gave it that whimsy and that magical feeling that I think is very appropriate when you're talking about, you know, these secrets that have not been revealed to anybody up to this point. With episode 2, we also got the opening and closing credit. I was very pleased to see that a lot of that came from the chapter titles. So I know there was a shot in the intro with Coco surrounded by a bunch of pens, I want to say. And that is one of my favorite pages, one of my favorite cover pages in the comic. So I was really glad to see its inclusion as well. Also, shout out to the Tower of Tomes, probably one of the coolest libraries in fiction alongside Candlekeep. The idea that a magical copy of every book ever written appears in here is just such a neat idea. And the fact that it ties so closely in with the plot of the story is really great. Of course, the story was on point. I can't think of anything that was added or removed from the manga. I think we hit all the crucial elements of these first couple of steps for Coco into the world of witches. I do worry that episode 2 might not be as well received as episode 1 because it is mostly just an introduction to the supporting cast and not a whole lot happens in it other than like training and learning a little bit more about magic. For those expecting a little bit more spectacle or a little bit more action, I could see being disappointed. I hope people understand that this is a series that is far more concerned with the wonders of magic and of producing something beautiful than it is slinging powers around and getting into fights. I think if you view it through that lens, then even the simple act of putting together the first successful spell, of talking about how little changes in the way that they draw it or how well it's drawn affect the overall composition of the spell. Even those quiet moments, those small moments will have impact and have weight as we move forward into the series. And Kiefer says this. He says, wouldn't you like to learn about a gentler kind of magic? Wouldn't you like to learn about magic that is to make people happy? Hoping this can find an audience that will embrace those themes, will embrace those ideas, because what's coming is something truly great and really special, and I'm super excited for it. I want this to be the next big thing. I want this to blow up so bad. Because I just think it is one of the best things I've read in recent memory, manga or otherwise. Like, best piece of fiction that I've read over the past few years, this would be in the running for sure. What did you think of the first few episodes of Witch Hat? Are you watching the series? Have you read the manga? Are there any moments like the escape scene out the window that you're hoping to see animated? Let me know down in the comments below, and also let me know if you'd like to hear more of these kind of anime wrap-ups, if you want me to talk about episodes that are coming up. There are a few other shows I'm really excited about coming out this season. The first episode of Liar Game just came out. I've not had a chance to watch it yet, but that is one of my favorite manga that never got an adaptation in the States. And then Akane Banashi, another series that I've been championing for a very long time, is getting an anime. So let me know if this kind of retrospective review / like manga comparison is something you'd like to see in the future. I hope your reading journey is going well. As always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so we can grow this corner of our booktube community. And until the next one, take care.